my name's Carolyn Floyd, and I've been working with the River Park Foundation for about 4.5 years. My son was homeless, and I knew he lived somewhere in the river valley, but I didn't know where. And I read an article about how the River Park Foundation does surveys down here, and the article mentioned that sometimes they run into homeless people. And so just by chance, I sent them an email and with a picture of my son, and I said, if you ever see this young man, please tell him to call his mom. But I got an email one day and it said, hey, we saw him. And would you like to come out with us next week? We know where he's staying. We know where his tent is. And I told my boss I couldn't come to work, and I'm going out there. And I did a day of labor. And at the end of that shift, word kind of came down the line that they had found my son. And I got up to him. He was standing on the sidewalk, a little bit shell-shocked why he was getting all this attention and why somebody told him not to go anywhere. And I'd never prepared myself for what I would say. It had been months since I'd seen him. And I just grabbed him and I just cried and held him, and was just so enormously grateful to have him in my arms. And at that point, I started visiting him at his ugly yellow tent down at the riverbed. And it was just about 4 years ago now that he decided he wanted to go to rehab and get clean. And he's done that. He is now living out of state. He has a family. He has a son and a daughter and a girlfriend. He's doing fantastic. It's important to realize that the people out here are sons and daughters, brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers. They're loved, and they have a lot of potential. And someday they may realize it, someday they may not. But if you treat everybody as you'd want to be treated, it gives them a chance.
When we first got started, our data collection was primarily designed to inform our cleanups, to make sure that we had the right tools for the job, to address the trash that was occurring in the riverbed. But it became clear that we were uniquely suited to be able to take our knowledge of the river and leverage that to help make sure that people weren't suffering down here. This really is an intersectional issue with environment partners, social service partners, and others that all really need to work together. And it's really gratifying for us to be able to play a part.
So we're out here updating our data all the time, and there are plenty of times that we come out here and a camp that we knew had been here before is no longer there. And every single time that happens, we hope that the story is that those people found help. That isn't always the case. That data is really helpful just to know how people are moving in and out of the riverbed. The riverbed isn't a safe place to call home, though we know that temporarily it can be called home for a lot of the people who are living down here. We love volunteers like Carolyn because they are able to give us the perspective from the other side. So she is able to share her stories with us, let us know how our impact can do good for these people.
The data we collect is shared through active partnerships with homeless outreach and resource providers like P.A.T.H, who can use our data to get people into safe and sustainable housing. As an environmental organization, we're excited to use our in-depth knowledge of the riverbed to connect homeless outreach with the people who need it in an underserved area of San Diego.
Stories like this give us hope that that is the case sometimes, and that more stories like this can happen along the river.